What's up, y'all? This is Sticks and Politics. And today, for our episode, we're going to be talking about Democrats. People who vote Democrats, people who run as Democrats, and why you should not vote Democrat. Okay, so I think I should go as far as Biden and even say, if you're black, then you shouldn't vote Democrat. But that's a little bit racist to say that. But anyway, I'm going to stick by it and we're going to run with it. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Unless you're a complete and utter bigot, you should not vote Democrat. Let me bring this point up. Okay, so it was Democrats that fought and wanted to preserve slavery and to keep our black counterparts in chains. It was Democrats that started segregation laws, fought for and instilled segregation laws. It was Democrats that started Jim Crow laws. And it was Democrats that started government assistance. Now, these are four key components that identifies the Democratic Party. Onto the main thing I find is one of the biggest issues. Everybody wants to talk about systematic racism and the systematic destruction of the black man and the black family. I want y'all to really think about this. Democrats started government assistance. What was the purpose of government assistance? Whenever they first started government assistance, they said that it was under the guise of to help their fellow man who is not, don't have as much as everybody else. That seems like a honorable cause. It seems like a notable cause. It seems like something you would want to back, right? Only it isn't. You see, what this program did was they told women that if you have kids and and the father is not in the home, we will give you a check for every child. And most normal people expected this to be a one and done thing and someone getting back on their feet and then they'll be done with it. But instead what it did, what the Democrats knew it would do, they primarily targeted black recipients. So what do I mean by they primarily targeted black recipients? Meaning you could have a white person go into Social Security. You could have a black person. You could have a white mother go into Social Security. You could have a black mother go into Social Security. Both of them could have the daddy in the family. The Social Security office told them, we cannot pay you with the father being into the house. So black women then, in turn, kicked their men out. Because as we know, anytime a woman struggles or has financial struggles, they move on from men. If you cannot provide for your family, they will move on for the family. So your question may be, well, Josh, how in the world did this make black women leave their men? Well, you got to think about a sociological structure of everything. Whenever this started, racism was a real thing. People still had racist views, and which made it hard for the black men to go out and get good jobs, make good money, and support their family. Because you have to think, it takes $45,000 to $50,000 a year per child to raise a child in a structured, non-negligible home. By negligible, I mean negligent. So these women left their men, and the government was like, oh, well, you left your man. Well, we'll give you a check for every child. So it incentivized them to have more children outside of wedlock. What does this do? This raises children outside of the structured family home. Marriage rates in the black community dropped by 80%. They dropped by 80% since government assistance has started. This was all a plan. This is the systematic destruction of the black youth. So whenever you have a young man who's growing up fatherless, and these things has made women adjust their way of thinking. It has made women believe that they don't need men. It has made women to believe that they can make it without their men. What has this done socially? Well, what this has done has created an impossible loop for the black man to have to run around and constantly run around and constantly run around and never find an end. Your average black man makes under $45,000 a year. I think it's only 8% of the black men 8% of men, period. It's even lower for the black man that makes above $50,000 or more. Well, $50,000, that's a lot of money, man. No, it's really not. Because if you think $1,000 a week translates to what? I think it's like $26,000 a year, something like that. So it's less than the average of being able to raise a child. And this is just one child. This is why I say that no one should vote Democrat. This is why I say that the Democratic Party is the enemy to the United States. They have been the enemy to the United States since slavery, since the abolishment of slavery, that I said. Before then, they were perfectly cool with the United States. You know, we could buy and sell men and women. They loved that shit. They loved it. Us Republicans hated it. It was distasteful. It was disgusting. So we ended it. But the reason behind the whole government assistance shit was to adjust black women's mind frames into not having men. And this raises dangerous children without any direction. This is the reason why black men outnumber anybody in the penal system. Because they didn't have a father growing up. They don't know how to be a man. Whenever a young boy grows up and he don't know how to be a man, we're men. We're inclined to violence. We're naturally inclined to anger. For us, we bend nature to our will through our physical strength. Women think emotionally. Men think logically. This is the reason. This is what the government, I wouldn't even say the government because it's not the whole government. This is what Democrats was counting on, for the black woman to react emotionally about the situation and not logically. And that's what has happened. That's why we need to get rid of Democrats on every single level of government, all the way down to the school boards. If they're Democratic or liberal, we need to get rid of them. Their views are not traditional. They do not like American values. America is not a racist country. We want different people coming in. I say all the time that America was built on the backs of blacks and the minds of whites. Without the other one, neither one would be able to accomplish what the fuck we accomplished. Nothing would be possible. You couldn't have done it. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Sticks and Politics. And I hope y'all learned something today. Don't vote Democrat. Let's go with the big red wave. Whoosh! Sticks and Politics, baby.